What is the science behind a hot air balloon? Hot air balloons are based on a very basic scientific principle. Warmer air rises in cooler air. Essentially, hot air is lighter than cooler air because it has less mass per unit of volume. A cubic foot of air weighs roughly 28 grams, about 1 ounce. If you heat that air by 100 degrees Fahrenheit, it weighs about 7 grams less. Therefore, each cubic foot of air contained in a hot air balloon can lift about 7 grams. That's not much, and this is why hot air balloons are so huge. To lift 1,000 pounds, you need about 65,000 cubic feet of hot air. Wind is the most critical factor in ballooning. Balloons fly best in light winds at about 4 to 6 miles per hour. Maximum safe wind speeds are 8 to 10 miles an hour. Since a balloon uses mostly wind to travel, it controls its primary controls. The stronger the wind is, the less control the pilot has of these controls. And the lighter the winds are, the more control the pilot has, since the winds carry the balloon but don't overpower its primary controls. How does temperature, hot or cold, affect ballooning? Which is better and why? Temperature of the air around you plays a rather large role in ballooning. The temperature of the air in the balloon required for you to go up depends on the temperature of the air around you. If the weather is hot, then you are going to have to make the air inside the balloon even hotter. It must be hotter because the hotter the air is, the less dense it is, allowing you to go up. No matter how hot or cold the weather is, you will still be able to go ballooning. Although it is better to go ballooning in cooler weather because the cold weather lowers the temperature required to go up. This happens because in cold weather, the air is already really dense, so the air in the balloon doesn't have to get as hot to become less dense.
Hot air balloons are primarily used for recreational purposes, but they've been used for scientific research. In fact, the very first ever time that a human being, a person, got airborne was in a hot air balloon over Paris. The Montgolfier brothers were the very first to do that. There were experiments during the American Civil War about using balloons for reconnaissance. Those balloons initially were hot air balloons, but they pretty quickly figured out that they didn't stay aloft very long because they cooled off, and so they switched over to hydrogen balloons. So for the most part, balloons that were used during wartime were either hydrogen balloons, or nowadays we use helium because helium is non-flammable. So for the most part, hot air ballooning is primarily a recreational thing. But there have been some early experiments with it.
What is the required temperature to attain and maintain flight? Since balloons use hot air as a power source, the air that is used needs to be at a certain temperature in order for the balloon to take flight. A balloon will start to fly when the air being put into the balloon reaches about 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So that means when it's colder outside, there's less heat that is being put inside of the balloon, and when it's warmer outside, there's more heat that's being put in the balloon. So when the temperature is colder, the temperature outside would add to the heat being given inside of the balloon, which would end up creating a lower number. And when it's hot outside, you would add the heat of the outside temperature to what is being put in, and you would get a larger number, which explains why when it's colder outside, the temperature is a lot lower than it is when it's warmer outside.